Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Christelle Martinette. And before I start my July readings, I just want to say, it'll take me about 5 minutes, a few words about dimensions and about the work we do as readers, how it's done, how it's actually done. I've been hearing a lot of people in YouTube throwing around the word Akashic Records and Akashic Records readings, the Tree of Life, and so on. It seems that these are the latest watchwords of the day. But to be able to address a wide audience, because YouTube indeed does address a wide audience, it may be helpful to dispel a lot of the confusion, to clarify a lot of things by explaining where we actually get our information and how. So to do that, I'm going to take a multidimensional perspective. Many spiritual traditions and teachers talk about 10 different dimensions of existence. The equations in physics that are put forth by this theory called superstring theory talks about 10 dimensions of existence. So what is that? Superstring theory is an attempt to explain all of the particles and fundamental forces of nature in one only theory by modeling them as vibrations of tiny supersymmetric strings, tiny energy strings. You hear us often mention when we say our vibrational rate. This is what we refer to. And in the soul work and the soul therapy I do, I've personally always considered there to be 10 dimensions of existence for the soul, with an added to the 11th and the 12th dimension existences reserved to other supernatural beings, or we can call them spirits, we can call them celestial beings, we can call them divine messengers or angels and archangels. And especially recently, could be 10 years, but recently, specifically 2-3 last years, the dimensional levels of our being that we're able to access personally from this dimension, this third dimension, because I'm speaking to you from the third dimensional incarnation with my flesh and blood and bones, we've increased our ability greatly over this past few years of how we access higher regions. We're more and more able to conceive of the choices that we make and the choices that express who we are at the soul level. We're more and more aware of our individuality, that in theory, at least, we also get to be exactly who we are in theory, rather than having to follow some, society norm or convention or cultural norm. But this is not true, of course, for all parts of the world, all parts of the planet, because many people, however, though, are opening up to living by their own unique rules today. And as our thoughts align to who we are at soul level, we can receive then more information and guidance from upper dimensional aspects of our beings at the level of mind. So each of us, however, has an aspect at every single dimensional level. Each of us not only has a third dimensional person, but we have also a fourth and a fifth dimensional person. We're fourth and fifth dimensional beings. We also have an aspect that is sixth dimensional, seventh dimensional, and so on. But while we may not exactly be actively working within these planes, we already exist there. Think of the various dimensions as a cake, a layer cake. They're all one, it's a cake, and they're not separate from one another. They're all in one cake, and all the dimensions are layered one on top of another, and they exist at the same time, exist simultaneously. And every dimension affects another dimensions. Things that happen in one dimension affects other dimensions. And this is why spiritual evolution takes place through our experiences in this third dimension. But, and this is the trick, this density, this third dimension is very dense. Its physical experience is very dense. It makes it the dimension that most affects every other dimensional aspect of our existence. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to affect physical matter. Far more greater energy than it takes to think, for example. Our choices here in this third dimension affect our soul's vibration rate by either aligning to our divine self-expression or not. And the denser the dimension, the more profoundly all other dimensions are affected. And while at a less dense dimension, such as the fifth dimension, where we do clearing work, where I clear work for people, definitely has an effect on a denser dimension as a fourth or third, it takes more time for this effect to take place, and it is more subtle, depending on how self-aware, and this is the proviso, depending on how self-aware we are at these upper dimensional levels of existence. But it's important to think of the different dimensions as different perspective of our being. Dimensions are different from each other, but at a higher, I just want to mention that a higher dimension is not superior to the lower dimensions. They simply have different energetic qualities. And as a soul therapist, I do clearing at the fifth dimensional level in order to affect a person's entire being. And the Akashic records, that word thrown around so much, those are located also at the fifth dimension. The soul vibration rate of a person indicates to us what dimension we are primarily receiving guidance and information from, what dimensional aspect we would identify with as our higher self, while we talk about higher and lower vibration rates. That's what it refers to. So if we live our divine self-expression, we actually have the opportunity to embody our higher dimensional aspects within this human experience. This makes it possible then to access our records, Akashic records, whatever you want to call them, or rather, information of your soul's blueprint, your soul's history. And since all psychics, like myself, can really tap into great stores of energetic information, you can understand that it's really fundamental for you to work with someone you can trust. It's all about love as well, and how they can give love. And as we evolve further, you will begin to be fascinated as your vibrational rate becomes higher. You'll become fascinated with relationships and how our interdependence as humans affects our spiritual evolution. And you'll feel a natural desire to engage with others and serve others through the purpose that you have here. And at the same time, you'll want to engage with whole groups rather than individuals, hence the idea of giving seminars. And your method of manifestation will also change as you evolve. At first, we can manifest or channel information that moves us into action. Basically, we receive guidance on what to do in order to create the outcome that we want. And this is fifth dimensional vibration rate. And as we evolve in time, we begin to draw experiences to ourselves by shifting our states of being, usually through action. And that occurs at the upper fifth dimensional and the lower sixth dimensional rate. And eventually we manifest what we want by manifesting the relationships with others that our soul wants to experience, or by manifesting the relationship we have with ourselves. And this occurs at upper sixth dimension and seventh dimension vibration rate. I hope that these 5-6 minutes have made it a bit clearer for you, because once you evolve spiritually, and we help you do that, you yourself can benefit from tapping into different dimensions, thus receiving directly the guidance you want. That spirit guide team reading that I mentioned on my website, that's what it's all about, becoming in tune to your higher self. Now off to the July readings. Hi Scorpio, this is for you. This is a monthly reading for the month of July. And it's so warm here that I have my windows open. All the birds are flying low and chirping. It sounds like rain is on its way. The sky's blue. Let's take a look at what is in store for you in the month of July. Cards are flying all over the place. I keep them in my hand. What's going on? He says, but these, as always, have been shuffled since the last reading I did. Let's see what happened. This is the 1st of July that I'm reading in. So the month is kicking off, and then there will be a new moon. Let's see what's in store for you, Scorpio. Yeah, I find that you're shedding light for other people. You're not a guiding light, but you're raising the light for everyone, and everybody's following your light. And it seems to me that you have a lot of responsibility interacting. You're put in a position that you need to interact with other people, and not only interact, but you have the responsibility. You've got the responsibility of guiding them, either in a company or in some form of management. You seem to be above them. I see that you're managing others. And at the same time, it's not only a matter of managing people, it is indeed a matter of trying to get the best route to find. I remember last month I mentioned this. I was talking about a distribution chain and you being in command. And I'm seeing a little more of that, only a stepped up version, only a developed version. You can hear the birds in the background. A developed version of that. And what's interesting here to note is that you really understand. You really get the impression that you're dancing among wolves and you're dancing among animals. You're with animals and you're feeling that that this is your element. You know, you're in a pack of wolves and you're right up ahead, or you're dancing with the snakes, having them sliver in and out. You're very at ease and you're very comfortable among the animal life. And what's interesting is that when you are in a group of people, it's almost as if you just put on a mask. They don't see you, you don't see them. This is the way you act. You just go in and do your business. And you don't let anything transpire. You don't take in anything from the environment. It's as if you're in there for a job. You have to do the job. You have an objective and you're going to it. However, this entails a lot of self-effacement, which means it it entails a lot of you removing yourself from the immediate context. In order for you to interact, there's something with what you're doing in this period of time that you really would like to turn on the automatic and get the work done. You're giving yourself time. There'll be months up ahead. It seems like you have a job that you've staked out for yourself. This is chosen for yourself. You know, there's something that has to be done, and you're going to do it. Now, like I said, you are the light for other people, and there are people who depend on you. At the same time, you are seeking guidance. It's as if you're waiting for somebody to give you the, thing. They're going to don you, they're going to make you a knight, or they're going to give you something special in order for you to continue what you're doing. You're enacting the movements now because you have been chosen to do that, or you have inherited a position. You're finding your way. You're not very good at it right now, but you've studied everything. You know how to make the moves. But until you get that formal thing, you get the formal insignia, the formal trade on, the formal mark, formal title, that you are the person in charge. It is your business. You have inherited this realm. You are the king in that realm, okay? But in the meantime, you're gearing up for that position. Now, I mentioned self-effacement, okay? I did mention self-effacement. And although it is a matter of removing yourself temporarily from your environment, what it enables you to do is actually go in and dance among the wolves. Because there's a part of you, it's as if you're a master of different timelines. And you know that in one timeline, this is what you're doing. But in another timeline, you're still enacting among those shadows that you feel are really what you call home. And you have this alcove, you have this area in your life where you're like a fox going into the hole and looking out from the hole, because you have to study the world, but at the same time you're wallowing, and you're still wallowing. And the only way you can interact is if you have this mask, this cover-up. And so there's a lot of hiding here still, which is typically your nature, which does make it difficult for other people to interact with you, however. But that's not important to you. That really is, it's as if you're in survival mode. This is survival mode. If I have to make it, this is how I'm going to act. Okay, so then you go in, and don't be surprised if people don't take to that. Right? Don't be surprised if people don't react favorably to that, because you come off as being removed. Especially if you're living in a warm culture now, if you're in an area of the world or among a population, peoples that generally are, the touchy-feely kind, people who embrace, people who, they want more. They expect more, and they will give you the definition of being the cold one. But, like I said, you're in survival mode. In the evenings, you go into that cave and you look out and you try to make your plan for the next day. So you are on a mission. And ultimately, your mission entails a lot of money. Here I see. It entails a lot of, not necessarily the economic value, but it entails the responsibility of other people that in the long run will turn in your favor economically. And that is your goal. That is your ultimate goal. Whether you say it's not, and whether whether you think, oh, I want that home in Michigan, or oh, I want that home in Wisconsin, where I used to grow up, or yes, let me go back to my hometown near the beach. I would like to go fishing or scuba diving, or what I used to do as a child. And those things, however, are all dreams that require you to have a certain amount of money to go there and to do those things. How many people do you know that go scuba diving? How many people do you know that can afford a third or a fourth house, or even a second house, or even a first house? Those are things that in your value system, you have a value system that's really, really out of whack, that you are trying, excuse me for saying that, this is what I'm seeing. You have a value system that is really going haywire, and it's because of the events that have occurred to you recently. And recently I'm talking about 1 month to 5 years. The events that have occurred to you recently has put you in the survival mode over and over and over again, that you don't have any room for true emotions. You don't have any room to let your open your side flank and be a little bit too open. And this is what is going in your mind. Now, of course, not all of us are like that. All of you Scorpio out there, this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm having to say. So it may be the majority of you, or this may in some way hit home for you. I'm going to use the Angel Tarot here now over this to see what the light is about, what the self-effacement is about, what that mask is all about, what those wolves dancing with you. Here too, these cards are flying out, the words are coming out, and you waiting to be insigniated. I hope I've used that word right, to receive some form of recognition, a formal, a plaque, a title. Now, you're going to have to spend some more time in that mode, unfortunately, because as you carry the banner, as you carry the light for those behind you, you are still in that self-effacing mode. Ultimately, that is what is going to bring you home, into your figurative home, into your real home, into that, family. Because I'm seeing a family here, an extended family that you have been thrown into, that you are having to deal with, but also a family that you want to call your own. You think, is it possible for me to say once and for all, now I am at peace, now I am in my people, this is my tribe, these are the people who I really can associate with, who I feel are like me, in that you are indeed the emperor seeking a realm, the emperor who wants to have control, and it is control indeed that you want, excuse me, control over your emotions, control over the emotions that will sideswipe you, control over your time. I have here the King of Wands here. Now this is a passion card. What is it? Emperor come King of Wands. You know, the passion, the emperor that is becoming, you know, going in among the lay people, among the other caste that is experiencing their passions hidden in there when they recoil into the cave. You foxes out there are going into a mode that is, oh, you're exercising all your passions. You're giving vent to all of your desires, but that's hidden. That's hidden. It's hidden behind a cam. It's hidden behind a computer. It's not for the sight of all to see. The last outgoing card is the Death card. Now, I can safely say as a reader, if you continue that way, there's going to be a complete revolution, a complete transformation. The fox is going to come out. The emperor will become the King of Wands. The King of Wands will be showing his passions outwardly. The emperor will give back seat to the empress. You know, the family will be coming in. That is going to be a wait for that. It seems as if you're on a mission. There's something that you've been called to do, and now you're going to be doing it. Whew. Gee, I feel like I'm reading for an Aries here. There's so much action going on. Sorry. I'm going to take a look at these two cards. These are the incoming cards. The Carnival card. It is like a world card. And the Hanged Man. Here too, these have been pre-shuffled. Let me take a look at what they hold for us. Okay, now. Okay, I have Costanza, Constance, Stanza, Costanza and Stanza. Interesting. This is the room. This is Constance. And this is Denaro, or Denari, the safe. Where are you at? What is your context? Your context is constantly seeking stability, economic stability. And I'll highlight that once again, whether it be economic stability to make donations, economic stability to give to the poor, there is a objective number one is to make money, to have the financial stability to do then what you wish, whether you want to give it away, throw it away from the tops of the mountains. That is your most important drive this month. Then we have this stanza, and this is a room of communication, and it is absolutely empty. You are not interacting. You are not giving of yourself. You do not want to let the beans out of the bag, if that's an expression. I don't know. I made it up. You are not going to let people know what you think, where you are, who you're interacting with, your darkest secrets, the heights of your success. It is off limits for the world around you. And so be it. Okay, this is your choice. I'm going to the focus card here, the Emperor, and the High Priestess Aizan. It's the Emperor on this ground, the High Priestess behind him. But the High Priestess is not telling. Okay. Now, what's interesting, well, they're more or less affirming what was just said. You're taking care of business. Dottore, falsità, and omaggio di preziosi. You're taking care of business. The object is economics. You have a monetary value. That's your goal. And off limits. You are off limits. I'm going now to the outgoing cards, which is an 8 Sandaria and Santeria card and the Death card. All right. There is a hidden agenda, and it's coming out here. And the hidden agenda, this is riunione, the meeting, belvedere, and the artista, or the literary, the literato, and other decks. Your ultimate objective, and that is, let's say, at the basis, this is something that you don't even tell yourself. This is something you know, but you don't even mention it to yourself. You try not to think about it right now because you have something else to do. You want to see the loved one, the person who is in your heart. This is no longer a hope. This is the future, a bright future. And this is the outgoing cards here. So all of what you're doing, all of that hiding in that cave, all of that, being off limits, will bring in a positive result. And this is what is populating your days, thoughts of being with that person again. So deep down inside, Scorpio friends, there is that longing and that goal. Okay, so it's not only money, it's probably the money that is the road to being together with that person. There's a purpose here, there's a drive. Let's take the runes to see about these incoming cards. Lack of communication. And the constant aim for money. God damn, you guys are successful. All right, well, what can I do? I'll just show you them one at a time. Okay, you get it. You get that exchange. You put in, you get back. It will take you time, and I don't know, I can't tell you the timing. This is meeting time here. Months, it could be months, but you get the whole kit and caboodle, the whole block, and I don't know how it's called. You get it all. This is you know you will be successful. Okay, so you really, really are on a mission. Let me go over the High Priestess and the Emperor here with taking care of business, the Doctor. My God, so many beautiful runes. So many beautiful runes. I mean, what can I say? Fehu, Tir, Unyo, Ing. That is those are the ingredients of success. Much needed success, because it's going to cancel out the previous 4 or 5 years. Remember, I talked about a few months to 4 or 5 years. It's going to cancel out all of those years, that time that was spent almost as if you were in prison. A prison that you created yourself. I'll remind you. Choices. We have choices. The outgoing cards. Okay, the outgoing cards, the loved one, and the... Okay, now this is a more particular story. Whereas that was all success, you will get what you want. Now, concerning this, this meeting, you do have, and you feel the need to go through that portal way and go straight to your loved one. That is an underlying need. The runes are telling you that never before have you ever been so protected in that endeavor and in that ultimate goal. I've got Manat's Merkstave here. It's not going to be a piece of cake. That loved one may be with someone. That loved one may be somewhere else. That loved one may not be available. There's going to have to, you're going to have to go through a bit of, not torture, you don't have to go through the torture chamber, but you're going to have to make things face to face, two wunyus, eye to eye. You're going to have to deal with it face to face, and you're going to have to face the music. It's really you looking again in the mirror through the eyes of another person. And that's ultimately what the month of July is announcing to you, because I believe that this is further on down the line, this meeting ground, but surely at the end of this process. And it's as if, you have been the fool going on this long journey, and the world card is coming around, except the world is translated into the death card. The 10th death card talks of transformation, transforming Manats, men, the couple, into something that is self-reflexive, eyeing each other and being reflected, the own nature of your soul. Very interesting, Scorpio. I'm dead tired after this reading, but it was well worth it. I do hope this was of help for you for the month of I was going to say August. Probably August is when you come to that realization, or you come face to face with that person. But for the month of July, I hope this was of help. Those of you in the United States, have a great 4th of July. Bye-bye.